Hello, welcome to the Southern Bible Thumper channel. For this upload, we will be reading 1 Samuel chapter 26. And the Ziphites came unto Saul to Gibeah, saying, Doth not David hide himself in the hill of Haselah, which is before Jeshimon? Then Saul arose and went down to the wilderness of Ziph, having 3,000 chosen men of Israel with him to seek David in the wilderness of Ziph. And Saul pitched in the hill of Haselah, which is before Jeshimon by the way. But David abode in the wilderness. And he saw that Saul came after him into the wilderness. David therefore sent out spies and understood that Saul was come in very deed. And David arose and came to the place where Saul had pitched. And David beheld the place where Saul lay, and Abner the son of Ner, the captain of his host, and Saul lay in the trench, and the people pitched round about him. Then answered David and said to Ahimelech the Hittite, and to Abishai the son of Zeruiah, brother to Joab, saying, Who will go down with me to Saul to the camp? And Abishai said, I will go down with thee. So David and Abishai came to the people by night, and behold, Saul lay sleeping within the trench, and his spear stuck in the ground at his bolster. But Abner and the people lay round about him. Then said Abishai to David, God hath delivered thine enemy into thine hand this day. Now therefore let me smite him, I pray thee, with the spear, even to the earth at once, and I will not smite him the second time. And David said to Abishai, Destroy him not, for who can stretch forth his hand against the Lord's anointed and be guiltless? David said furthermore, As the Lord liveth, the Lord shall smite him, or his day shall come to die, or he shall descend into battle and perish. The Lord forbid that I should stretch forth mine hand against the Lord's anointed, but I pray thee, take now the spear that is at his bolster, and the cruse of water, and let us go. So David took the spear and the cruse of water from Saul's bolster, and they gat them away, and no man saw it, nor knew it, neither awaked, for they were all asleep, because a deep sleep from the Lord was fallen upon them. Then David went over to the other side, and stood on the top of an hill afar off, a great space being between them. And David cried to the people and to Abner the son of Ner, saying, Answerest thou not, Abner? Then Abner answered and said, Who art thou that criest to the king? And David said to Abner, Art not thou a valiant man? And who is like to thee in Israel? Wherefore then hast thou not kept thy lord the king? For there came one of the people in to destroy the king thy lord. This thing is not good that thou hast done. As the Lord liveth, ye are worthy to die, because ye have not kept your master the Lord's anointed. And now see where the king's spear is, and the cruse of water that was at his bolster. And Saul knew David's voice and said, Is this the voice my son David? And David said, It is my voice, my lord, O king. And he said, Wherefore doth my lord thus pursue after his servant? For what have I done? Or what evil is in mine hand? Now therefore I pray thee, let my lord the king hear the words of his servant. If the Lord have stirred thee up against me, let him accept an offering. But if they be the children of men, cursed be they before the Lord, for they have driven me out this day from abiding in the inheritance of the Lord, saying, Go, serve other gods. Now therefore, let not my blood fall to the earth before the face of the Lord, for the king of Israel is come out to seek a flea, as when doth hunt a partridge in the mountains. Then said Saul, I have sinned. Return, my son David, for I will no more do thee harm, because my soul was precious in thine eyes this day. Behold, I have played the fool, and have erred exceedingly. And David answered and said, Behold the king's spear, and let one of the young men come over and fetch it. The Lord render to every man his righteousness and his faithfulness, for the Lord delivered thee into my hand today. But I would not stretch forth mine hand against the Lord's anointed. And behold, as thy life was much set by this day in mine eyes, so let my life be much set by in the eyes of the Lord, and let him deliver me out of all tribulation. Then Saul said to David, Blessed be thou, my son David. Thou shalt both do great things, and also shalt still prevail. So David went on his way, and Saul returned to his place. 1 Samuel 25. After protecting Nabal's servants in the wilderness, he is very rude when David asks for help. Abigail, Nabal's good-hearted wife, prepares food for David and his men. Nabal dies, and David marries Abigail and another woman. 1 Samuel 26, the current chapter that we're on. Saul finds David's location and pursues him again. David finds Saul as he rests and takes his weapon and water bottle. Once again, David confronts Saul to show him that he could have harmed Saul. Summarizing 1 Samuel chapter 26 in a bit more detail, Saul is still trying to kill David. Saul is the king of Israel. He has access to all the resources. He has the influence to get people, like this group of people from Ziph, to help him accomplish his goals. David lives with Saul. Saul is David's manager. Saul is David's father-in-law. The reason why Saul has a problem with David is because David is demonstrating notable qualities that Saul doesn't have. Since Saul has been anointed to be king, he has been a coward. He has not honored God properly. And he only participates in the rituals that are supposed to honor God when it's in a way for him to gain an advantage. For instance, 1 Samuel chapter 13 and 14. In chapter 13, he was losing the confidence of the people, so he made an unauthorized sacrifice. In chapter 14, he was worried that his son Jonathan was going to lose to the Philistines, so he asked his priest to get the Ark of the Covenant. So this is Saul's pattern. When he disobeyed God in 1 Samuel 15, when he didn't destroy everything in that war, that's when God repented or regretted putting Saul in leadership. So David was anointed to be a leader. But when Saul hired him to work in his kingdom, he didn't know that David had been anointed. It wasn't until David started to prove himself through excelling at every task that he gave David, through his demeanor on how he earned respect in the territory and from the enemies, the Philistines. His daughter and his son both loved David. And the only thing he did wrong was being too good at everything, being too good of a person, being too good of a man. It inflamed Saul's insecurity, so now he wants to kill David. One major thing we need to be paying attention to, this is the second time we see a leader that God anointed acting out against God. The first time was Moses. I did a video, Why Moses, Why? All the things that he did that God didn't tell him to do, sprinkling blood on people in the book of Exodus. When he came down from the mountain, having people kill each other up. Now we see Saul. And so the point is, just because a leader is anointed to be in a position does not mean that everything they do is godly, does not mean that everything they say is something that God told them. The only way you're going to be able to discern is to have an understanding of this Bible yourself. Biblical adherence is the only way to avoid being deceived. It's the only way. Though I believe God is allowing me to be a vessel for Him, there are times that I am reading things and I put a the or a, or I just say the wrong word at the wrong time. I tell you I'm doing chapter 26 and it's chapter 16 on the screen. Humans are fallible. You have to be in charge of your own spiritual journey with God, your own relationship. You have to participate and have your hands in it. Otherwise, you'll be relying on someone else. Verses 1 through 4. The Ziphites, a group of people, tell Saul where David is, and Saul gets 3,000 men to go with him. David finds out, and in verse 4, sends messengers to verify Saul's arrival. In verse 6, David asks two people. We have Ahimelech, the Hittite, and Abishai, son of Zeruiah. So I thought that was interesting, the Hittite, because a Hittite is a Canaanite. But in this situation, with David running and having to hide from pillar to post and stronghold, you know, this could have been a person that just came along. Maybe he doesn't have a group either. So David asked these two men, will someone come with me to verify, after we verified that this is Saul, will one of you come with me to Saul's camp? So this guy Abishai went with David. They were able to get close to Saul as he slept, and Abishai looks at this as victory. Surely God has handed your enemy over to you. Let me kill him. David said, no, don't kill him. There was a bit of a discrepancy for me here, because the way that I read this is, destroy him not who can stretch forth his hand and be guiltless, right? Then when it goes on, as the Lord liveth, the Lord shall smite him, or his day shall come to die. But when we look at some of these other translations, for instance, maybe I can get this side by side in a better way. What verse is this? 9. New Living Translation, and I'm going to give the CSB so we can. Verse 9. Don't destroy him. Who can lift a finger against the Lord? As the Lord lives, the Lord will certainly strike him down. So the way that I read this was, the Lord will strike down whoever touches God's anointed. But when you look at this version, surely the Lord will strike Saul down. And this is the King James. This one is the Christian Standard Bible. The point is that I was trying to make there is verse 9 and 10, it's just a small discrepancy. This is a hypothetical situation anyway, but it's saying who can remain innocent? The person that kills will die of old age or be struck down someday, or the Lord will strike Saul, or he will die of old age or in battle. Slightly different message, but because this is a hypothetical situation, this is not an actual event. This is just saying, if you do that, this might happen. So David took Saul's spear and jug, and then him and Abishai got away. David climbed the hill, shouted down to Abner. Abner is the captain of Saul's military, so he's the leader of his military. And David kind of starts to taunt him. You're this great man, aren't you? You're this war man. Why haven't you guarded your master? And then shows him that he has the spear and the jug. Saul recognized David's voice, said, David, is that you? David says, it's me. Why are you chasing me? What have I done? Why do you hunt me like a single flea? Why has the king come out to search me as a single flea? Why does he hunt me down like a partridge? And a partridge is a type of bird. And he also says, you've driven me from my home. Because again, Saul is his father-in-law, his boss, and landlord. He lives with Saul. So for Saul to get this jealous of him that he wants to kill him and run him out, he's like, what are you doing this for? Saul says, okay, I've sinned. He already said this in chapter 19. I've sinned. I won't try to kill you again. Okay, come home. David gives back his spear and water bottle. And they both depart.